Fans everywhere felt a sudden jolt of concern when unexpected news involving Ben Shephard began making waves. It wasn't the kind of update anyone likes to hear, especially about someone who feels so familiar, so constant, and so warmly present in people's daily lives. Almost instantly, worry turned into emotion, especially after Annie's heartfelt reaction surfaced. Ben has always been more than a television personality. To viewers, he feels like that reassuring presence who greets you with a smile, lightens the mood, and somehow makes even ordinary moments feel brighter. That's why the sudden news hit so hard. It felt personal. Annie's response didn't arrive with dramatic statements or big headlines. Instead, it came softly, honest, emotional, and deeply human. The moment she spoke, fans knew this wasn't about exaggeration or panic. It was about care. She spoke about Ben the way you talk about someone you truly know, not polished, not distant, but close, familiar. She described his endless energy, his habit of brushing things off with a joke, and how he always insists he's absolutely fine, even when everyone else knows he needs to slow down. There was romance in her words, not the fairy tale kind, but the real kind, the kind built on shared mornings, quiet check-ins, and knowing when someone needs support even if they won't ask for it. She spoke with affection, warmth, and just enough humor to keep the emotion from becoming heavy. At one point, she smiled through the worry and joked that Ben treats rest like a short commercial break, something to get through quickly before getting back to life. Fans couldn't help but laugh because it sounded exactly like him. That single light-hearted moment shifted the mood. What began as fear slowly turned into comfort. Annie acknowledged the concern head-on. She didn't dismiss it, but she didn't let it spiral either. Her message was clear. Worry comes from love, and love deserves honesty. She thanked everyone for caring so deeply and reminded fans that sometimes the loudest stories aren't the most accurate ones. She spoke about resilience, not as pretending everything is perfect, but as facing uncertainty together. Her voice carried strength, but also tenderness. It was the kind of honesty that makes people listen more closely. Fans responded immediately. Messages of support poured in from all directions. People shared stories of how Ben's positivity had helped them through tough days. Others said Annie's openness made them feel less alone in their own moments of worry. And then, just when emotions felt heavy again, Annie brought the laughter back. She shared a small story about Ben misplacing his phone while talking on it, completely unaware. That, she said with a laugh, is peak Ben. It was such a simple moment, but it reminded everyone of who he is, human, humorous, and wonderfully imperfect. That balance between emotion and humor made her message unforgettable. As the conversation continued, Annie reflected on how moments like this change your perspective, how they remind you to slow down, appreciate ordinary days, and value health and connection above everything else. She spoke of gratitude, for support, for kindness, and for the reminder that people truly care. There was excitement in her words, too, not because everything was suddenly easy, but because hope remained strong. She reassured fans that Ben's spirit hasn't dimmed, his humor is intact, his warmth hasn't gone anywhere. That reassurance spread quickly. Fans began sharing favorite memories, funny clips, and moments that made them fall in love with Ben's personality in the first place. The story shifted from worry to celebration, from fear to appreciation. Annie made it clear that no one should rush to conclusions. She encouraged patience, kindness, and trust. Her message felt like a gentle pause in a noisy world, a reminder to breathe before assuming the worst. She also spoke of partnership, about standing beside someone during uncertain moments, offering strength without pressure. That kind of bond doesn't need dramatic declarations. It shows up quietly, consistently, and sincerely. Viewers admired that honesty. Many said it was refreshing to see emotion without exaggeration and reassurance without false promises. It felt real, and that's why it resonated. As reactions continued, one thing became clear. This wasn't just about sudden news, it was about connection, about how deeply people care when someone familiar faces uncertainty, about how one emotional response can bring comfort to millions. Annie ended her thoughts with warmth and gratitude. Gratitude for the messages, gratitude for the concern, gratitude for the reminder that kindness still spreads faster than fear when people choose it. She didn't promise perfection. She didn't dramatize the future. Instead, she offered something more powerful, hope grounded in honesty. This story isn't about panic. It's about compassion. It's about how humor can coexist with concern and how love shows itself in the smallest moments. And as fans continue to follow updates, share encouragement, and send positive thoughts, one thing is certain. Ben Shephard is surrounded by care, and Annie's emotional honesty has only strengthened that bond. If this story made you pause, smile, or feel connected, stay engaged. These moments remind us why familiar faces matter, not because of headlines, but because of heart. Sometimes it's not the news that stays with us.